Hey there, let me encourage you today, straight out of God's word, coming out of the book of First Kings. Now, if you recently had a win, but now maybe you feel like a failure again, today this is for you. I would encourage you, go ahead and read the story of Elijah's victory on Mount Carmel in 1 Kings 18, but then check out his dramatic and tragic switch up in chapter 19. In chapter 19, verse 4, it says, "I've had enough, Lord," he said. "Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors." The word of the day is aftermath. You know, one day, like Elijah stood tall on Mount Carmel. We talked about that, right? He was calling down fire from heaven, if you read that story, putting false prophets to shame. But the very next day, he was running for his life, overwhelmed by fear and asking God to end it all. This is the strange rhythm of real life with God. Victory doesn't immunize us from weakness. Sometimes our most fragile moments come after the fire falls, after the mountaintop experiences. That's when the enemy whispers lies the loudest. He'll say things like, "You're still not enough. You'll never change. You just blew it again." But God, you'll notice, doesn't rebuke Elijah's fragility. He meets it. He sends rest, food, and his presence. He shows Elijah that his power isn't just in the fire from heaven, but it's in that whisper that holds us when we fall apart. Maybe you've just had a spiritual high, a breakthrough, a win, a mountaintop moment, and now you're curled up under the broom tree like Elijah, embarrassed that you failed again. Hear this. Your failure doesn't cancel your calling, and your feelings don't override God's faithfulness. God's grace isn't just for your lowest point or your highest peak. It's for the crash that comes after. Don't mistake your fatigue for faithfulness. Rest, it's not retreat, it's renewal. So when you fall after a spiritual victory, do you run to God in honesty or from him in shame? My recommendation for you today in prayer is to spend time talking to God, letting him tend to your soul. Be honest with him about where you feel weak or ashamed and invite his gentle presence to meet you there. Hopefully this has blessed you today, and if so, share this with a friend, and we'll see you back here next time. Be blessed, be a blessing, and keep creating for God's glory. Peace.